This video is sponsored by Sonnet. Stick around until the end of this video for more. If you just got a new Mac or you're looking for some great accessories to upgrade your current setup, here are some of my favorite new accessories that I have been using that you should definitely check out. Quick note, nothing in this video is sponsored, nor am I required to make a video talking about any of these products that the companies may or may not have sent out for us to check out. These are just accessories that make my life easier, and I enjoy using them on a regular basis. So, first up is kind of the charging section of this video, which has a few different products because there are tons of new charging options, battery banks, wall outlets that are so unique and really good. So I'll just try to move quickly. But first up, we have this Anker 165 watt power bank that has over 20,000 milliamp hours of battery to charge any of your products on the go, especially your MacBooks. Now, remember when power banks used to be able to just charge phones and just barely be able to do that? Well, nowadays you're getting 165 watts of power to charge a MacBook Pro, a MacBook Air, and you can do so rather quickly. Now, what's really cool about this battery bank is that it has two integrated USB-C cables, which usually I'm not a fan of integrated cables, but these ones are pretty unique. So at the top, you can actually pull out a retractable cable to a pretty decent length as well, and it just retracts back in and it's super hidden. And then the other one is kind of disguised as the lanyard. I actually didn't notice this at first, but you can see here that it actually turns into a USB-C cable and then back into the lanyard when you hook it back together. There's also another USB-C port that acts both as an input and output so that you can charge devices, but also the battery bank itself. And there's also a USB Type A port here, so you have some versatility, which is really great. And there's also a screen letting you know what you're charging and how you're charging it and how much battery you have left. Another option that is also really good is this versatile and portable RayCon Magic Laptop Power Bank, and it offers up various charging compatibilities like 65 watts of power delivery, and while also not a massive screen, there is a little bit of a display here for information so that you can see how much battery you have remaining and whether or not devices are charging. What also is unique here is that you can not only charge two devices via the ports, one USB-A and Type-C, but there's also an integrated Lightning/USB-C cable attached here. And there's also a wireless charging pad here at the top so that you can wirelessly charge your iPhone or your AirPods or whatever uses Qi wireless charging. All of this can be done on the power bank's 15,000 milliamp hour battery, or you could just use the dedicated wall plug here and plug it in directly and get endless charging. It's kind of the Swiss Army knife of battery banks. This last one is a charging hub, so it's not quite portable, but it's amazing for your desk because it packs some insane wattage. This is the 200 watt USB-C 6-port GAN charger from Satechi. It's pretty simple. You get 6 USB-C ports with various wattage outputs. So depending on the device that you're charging, you can plug it in and get some pretty crazy charging speeds. So for example, ports 1 and 2 will offer 140 watts, which is great for your larger laptops. Think MacBook Pro, especially the 16-inch. 3 and 4 are rated for the 100 watts, so you can do your MacBook Air or even the smaller MacBook Pros. And 5 and 6 will give you 20 watts, so those are good for your iPhones and your iPads. There are some rubber feet here at the bottom, so you can just let it sit directly on top of your desk. Or if you want it in a vertical position, it comes with a little dock that you can just kind of place it on the stand here. But I love this. 6 USB-C ports at your ready on your desk whenever you need it. Absolutely must have in my opinion. Now, when it comes to docks, I've been using this Thunderbolt 5 SSD dock from Sonnet with all of my MacBook setups that I might have either at the house or at the studio here, but it just offers up a ton of versatility while providing those newer MacBook users who have Thunderbolt 5 ports those ridiculously fast transfer speeds. Did I mention that it's an SSD dock? So you can now get integrated up to 4 terabytes of NVMe SS storage. And then again, you get all of those useful ports like 3 Type A, Ethernet, and 2 15-watt USB-Cs on the back. And then on the front, there's a 140-watt USB-C for your bigger, larger MacBooks, and another USB-C port rated for 60 watts. And then rounding everything out, there's a Type A port along with a micro SD and standard SD card slots, and a 3.5mm audio jack. And this gives you everything that you need for your setup. This dock gives users the ability to attach 3 Thunderbolt peripherals, connect and charge a laptop at 140 watts power delivery. You can even add in 2 8K displays if you want to, and so much more. It's incredibly versatile and fantastic. Now, this dock is great for MacBook Airs, especially MacBook Pros, but it could be used with any Mac, really. But if you're a Mac Mini owner, I recommend also getting this Satechi Mac Mini Hub. It fits perfectly underneath, it blends in as if it's part of the machine, and it gives you a little lip here on the back left so that you can easily reach the power button underneath. So there's no more power button controversy on that new Mac Mini. It also, just like the last one, gives you an SSD enclosure, so you can add up to 4 terabytes via an NVMe at the bottom. And on the front, you get a micro SD card slot, which is great to have, and 3 USB Type-A ports. Lastly, let's quickly go through a couple of other accessories that I use quite a bit. So when it comes to monitors, it's really hard to beat the Apple Studio Display. That's what I use on a regular basis, but for those who can't fit that in their budget, and if you're looking for something that's really good and more affordable, we recently did a full video on the ASUS ProArt 5K monitor, and so I highly recommend checking out that video and that monitor. I've been using it here as a secondary setup for my MacBook Air, and I think it's absolutely excellent for the price. It's one of those monitors that gives you that near retina quality 5K experience that you'd get with something like a studio display, but at a much more affordable price, almost half of the price. Now for peripherals, I'm an Apple Magic keyboard and mouse or trackpad guy through and through, but I really love and often find myself switching back and forth between that and the Keychron Q5 HE keyboard. It looks incredible, it feels so good to type on, and it also sounds just as great as it feels. My only gripe, and the reason why I keep switching back and forth, is that one, it's missing Touch ID, which is kind of huge, but the other thing is that it kind of gives me some fatigue in my wrists because of the ergonomics of the keyboard. It's great for a little bit, but then I often wish there was like some pegs or stands on the back of it or the bottom of it to kind of lift it up off the table and tilt it more towards me so that it's a little bit more comfortable for my wrists. But I really love the way it looks and I love the way it sounds. Now for speakers, I used a pair of audio engines for like the longest time and I still really love them, but lately I switched to 2 Sonos Era 100s, which is overkill, but I absolutely love the sound that you get from these two when they're stereo paired together. The problem is I have it connected via Bluetooth, and so sometimes latency plays a little bit of an issue when I'm video editing, but that's very minimal compared to just how bad some of these Macs are with multiple Bluetooth connections. This is more of a Mac problem and not a Sonos problem, but the connection drops are so infuriating that if you do go this route, make sure you don't have a ton of competing Bluetooth devices because it's going to mess with your connection. You can plug it in directly via USB-C cables and some specific adapters that Sonos sells, but it does end up impacting the audio quality and the volume levels quite a bit, so I don't really like to use it that way. I actually just don't recommend doing that at all. These speakers, though, are unmatched for desktop speakers. They get so incredibly loud. They're so good, they sound amazing, and then you can use it as just a regular Sonos setup for around the house if you need to, but also on your desk. I mean, it's great, but again, there are some issues with the Bluetooth connection. And lastly, if you have a new MacBook Air or even one of the smaller MacBook Pro laptops and you're looking for an excellent backpack to transport all of your tech around, I'm a huge fan of this new backpack from WaterField Designs. They make excellent high quality bags, and this Shinjuku backpack is the one that I've been using recently with the M4 MacBook Air. It fits perfectly in its dedicated compartment. Then in front of that you can throw in an iPad. I can somehow squeeze a 13-inch in there, but I think that's pushing it. 11 inches the sweet spot. And then all of those battery banks that I talked about earlier, toss those in there. You can throw your AirPods Max, whatever the case may be, it fits a ton. There's a water bottle holder dedicated inside of the main compartment and a few other front zippered compartments to round out all of the excellent storage capabilities that this bag can offer while maintaining a smaller form factor. Of course, it's made from premium materials and it comes in a few great color options. I also recommend getting one of the matching crossbody slings too, especially if you're like me and you go out traveling and you have a bunch of tech with you, but you don't always need to carry your bag, but you want something smaller to like carry some of those miscellaneous items that you don't want to throw in your pocket. Highly recommend just kind of matching it all out. So those are some of the accessories that I've been using over the last few months nonstop, but of course, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are your must-have Mac accessories that you think I should check out? Go ahead and let me know down in those comments. Now, before we end today's video, I am gonna toss it over to Dan wearing a completely different sweatshirt, letting you know about today's sponsor, Setapp. Setapp is the ultimate place to get apps for your Mac and even your iPhone. For one monthly subscription price, you get access to hundreds of apps. And these apps aren't just like random apps that you wouldn't have any use for. In fact, there are tons of apps that I was paying for on a regular basis and quite frankly couldn't live without these apps. For example, Paste is an absolutely fantastic clipboard manager that I have been using for years. I have it synced across all of my devices, and anytime I copy anything, it goes into this easy to find tray that I can also categorize or search for keywords in order to find something that I might have copied and pasted months ago. I use this daily, as well as CleanShot X, which is just an excellent screenshot tool and screen recording app that takes your basic screenshots and screen recordings to a whole other level with so many great features and tools for annotating, blurring, and editing the content. I've also been a recent user of Notch Nook for my MacBook Pro because it just makes the notch on my MacBook far more useful by acting as a place for more information at a quick glance. I can toggle media controls, or I can drag and drop files to that notch and just be able to use it as a tray for holding and then sharing those files later on. And there are just tons of other useful features. There are actually so many great apps to choose from here, and I highly recommend that you just give Setapp a try. And you can try Setapp with an extended 30-day trial by clicking on the link down in the description below or scanning the QR code here that you've been looking at on screen. Thanks Setapp for sponsoring this video, and of course, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.